My guest today is Charles DeHousey. Charles is the CEO of the dYdX Foundation, looking after the dYdX protocol. Welcome to the show, Charles.
Hi, Andy. Very nice to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, indeed. It is nice to have you here, Charles. Let's do what we do at the beginning of the show. It would be super cool if you could please introduce yourself. It'd be great to hear a little bit about your personal and professional backstory. What have you been doing in the lead up to becoming a CEO at the dYdX Foundation?
Absolutely. Originally born in France, I spent 20 years in Asia where I was an entrepreneur. I sold my company. We went IPO in the Paris Stock Exchange, and I was then in charge of Asia business. Later on, I joined the Hong Kong government as the head of fintech. So it was a very interesting opportunity, which I thought I would kind of seize and make the best of. So for 3 years plus, I helped the Hong Kong government, the regulators, to essentially shape the ecosystem of finance in Hong Kong into a fintech ecosystem. In that context, I worked a lot in different verticals of fintech. One of them was blockchain, and I worked with a company called Consensus, which eventually I joined as founder of the Hong Kong office, later on head of Asia, as well as global head of business development. So at Consensus, I spent a lot of time with Infura, all the infrastructure player of Consensus. Obviously, spent a lot of time as well on MetaMask, looking at how MetaMask was growing. Back in the days, MetaMask was celebrating 700,000 users, and it was a big milestone. I think today MetaMask is probably close to 25 or 50 million users. So early in the days, we had to kind of engage with early practitioners of our industry, and that was very interesting. Later on, I joined dYdX Foundation as CEO, where essentially we are activating the governance, making sure the governance keeps its high velocity within the protocol, as well as doing some strategic BD, some marketing, and community engagement overall to make sure that the brand and the outreach of the brand keeps growing. For context, dYdX is one of the largest decentralized exchange for crypto derivatives. Crypto derivatives are a very important part of the crypto market today. They are 10 times bigger than spots. So when people get excited about the volume on Uniswap or the volume on Bitcoin trading in one day, it's very important also to capture that most of the days it's 10 times bigger in the world of derivatives. So dYdX is focusing on this part of the industry since 2018. dYdX had different part of a chapter in its lives. It was up to last year living for the most part on a layer 2 on Ethereum, where it celebrated $1 trillion of trading volumes. And about 12 months ago now, the dYdX chain came to be, run by dYdX validators with fully enabled governance. And we celebrated more than 250 billion trading volumes on the protocol lately. And a few hours ago, we launched together with the community dYdX Unlimited, which is the latest upgrade of dYdX, and I'm happy to deep dive on this later on.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Charles. So, look, it'd be fascinating if we have time later on, maybe circle back and love to kind of get your thoughts on Ethereum, based on your time at Consensus, and just talk about Ethereum, MetaMask, all that stuff. But before we do that, dYdX Unlimited. So as you mentioned, I think that has just launched as we record. So bring us up to speed then. What is dYdX Unlimited, Charles?
So dYdX is now a full stack ecosystem with his own chain and his own application. This is what we call an app chain. So dYdX is a very good example of an app chain. A chain dedicated to one use case, trading perpetuals, and to one application, the dYdX application. dYdX Unlimited is the latest upgrade of dYdX. It brings essentially to life 3 different items and new features which are very much in demand by the market and which are helping DeFi to differentiate itself from CeFi, and we can come back to this later on. The first feature which has been enabled by this upgrade a few hours ago is a permissionless listing. So essentially you can, as a user, instantly list most of the assets you would like to trade. As soon as an asset has a price feed, the price oracle system of dYdX will define a market for it. So a few months ago, for example, dYdX protocol integrated all the meme coins and all the coins from Solana ecosystem and Solana Radium spot exchange within dYdX. Many of the assets you can trade on Base, the layer 2 from Coinbase, are also listable and tradable on dYdX. So essentially, this instant listing features allows users to really being able to express their opinion on any market. Should it be a meme coin, a new RWA? We've seen some people listing FX pairs as well. So there is a multitude of new use cases, and what is very interesting with this Insta listing features is that essentially the users can shape the product of dYdX by themselves. So that's the first one, instant listings. The second part is when you list very quickly some assets. Some of these assets are long tail assets and they don't necessarily have the right liquidity around them. Not everyone is as popular and as traded as Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana, for example. So a meme coin, which is came to life a few days or weeks ago, does not necessarily have as much attention, therefore as much trading volume. So if you list this kind of assets, you will have some what we call slippage, and the market will be very, very volatile. So what the dYdX Unlimited upgrade brings here is essentially a systematic liquidity provision for more than 150 listed trading pairs on the protocol. So what it means is with the MegaVault, this is the name of this liquidity provision mechanism, users can essentially deposit USDC, but the protocol is also automatically depositing a part of the fees on this liquidity vault. And this liquidity vault will essentially be constantly scanning the order book and the different trading pairs and bringing liquidity where there is a need within the order book of dYdX. So potentially users can earn some yield when they deposit USDCs in this liquidity engine. I think last time I checked, it was like triple digits yield. So please have a look. That's something, even though you're not a good trader or you have no time to trade, you can just still benefit from essentially the market maker capabilities by contributing to the vault itself. So instant listing, liquidity vault, and there is also what we call an affiliate system, which was in very high demand. So this is essentially the three main features which are brought by the dYdX Unlimited upgrade, and the market is very excited. We've seen the size of the vault doubling overnight, and I think it keeps growing every hour. So it shows that there is a very strong product market fit and demand for this kind of features.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Charles. Well, look, speaking of that product market fit and those features, how are you positioning dYdX Unlimited? Like, what are you doing, I suppose, or what would you say that differentiates dYdX from other DEXs and indeed centralized exchanges? It is an increasingly competitive space, both in the DEX and the centralized space. How do you ensure that your offering is unique?
Thanks for that, Andy. I think you're really spot on here. That's a big question. So within the industry, two different parts, DeFi and CeFi. I think the big competitors for dYdX is not the other DeFi protocol. The reason being that there is only 5% of the crypto derivatives today which are traded on-chain, and 95% are still traded on centralized venues, should it be Binance, Coinbase, and the list goes on. So I think the opportunity is really to look at how do we accelerate this migration from CeFi crypto derivative trading to DeFi. How big is the potential? I think there is 10% more of the global market of crypto derivative, which will be migrating in a short period of time on-chain. If you look at, and where this number is coming from, if you look at how the spot market has been evolving, a few years ago, a company called Uniswap came to be, and at the time, 100% of the spot market was essentially on CeFi. And today, about 15% of the spot trading is happening on-chain via Uniswap and similar protocols. The migration has not been as fast yet on the crypto derivative market for all kinds of reasons, but essentially the potential is 10% more of market share, which will just be absolutely massive, given that the market of crypto perps is 10 times bigger than the spot market. So I think this is really where the competition is. There is a lot of new projects coming up on DEXs for perps we see a very similar patterns on many projects for the many years in the past, right? So you launch a new project, you're about to launch a token, you got a lot of attention, you build a lot of friends, people come and farm, and then when you launch your token, suddenly you realize you have only so many friends and your token has been possibly dumped and the volume are collapsing. So this pattern reproduces itself for many different cycles. I don't see why this pattern will change. So I know there is some projects which are about to launch their token, therefore they are the center of attention. But I don't see why this pattern will not break. Eventually, even though if we are all building on trustless technologies, we are in the trust business. Finance is trust. And I think one of the advantage and unfair advantage for dYdX is the reputation and the quality of the brand and the reputation we have on the market as a protocol, being singly focused on perps since 2018. And when you talk to newcomers in DeFi, we have to keep in mind that the DeFi market is still really small compared to the CeFi market and compared to the TradFi market. And when I engage with people which are moving and expanding their world from CeFi to DeFi or TradFi to DeFi, you realize that they're not going to jump on the new shiny protocol of the month on which is advertised on Twitter and chill on Twitter. They will want to make sure that the infrastructure, the team, the people they are trading against within those marketplaces are valuable. So I think one of the advantage of dYdX is the brand and the trust we have built over the years. It just shows that the biggest players in the crypto trading, should they be market makers or crypto hedge funds, are connected and are using dYdX on a weekly basis. And I think also the pace of innovation, and I would say the angle of innovation. If you look at the launch of dYdX Unlimited, where you can launch a market instantly on your own, just by essentially playing with the protocol itself, it really shows that essentially the right product design can really help you differentiate from CeFi. How many times you receive this email from centralized exchanges telling you, oh, we are listing the new meme coin, and by the time those meme coins are listed on centralized venues, most of the time they kind of already started to fade and something else popped up, right? Or how many times you've seen a token listed a bit too late, or how many times you've seen projects suffering from essentially gatekeeping or high fees to be listed on centralized exchanges. So I think the DeFi, if we want to keep growing, and we are, needs to keep building this kind of unfair and very unique advantages for itself, such as permissionless listings, systematic liquidity provision, which are good examples of what dYdX is doing with this upgrade of dYdX called dYdX Unlimited. But that's very important to pick your battles. So as I said, I look more at how we can fine-tune as a protocol the engagement and work together with the community to kind of grab some opportunities, users and volumes from CeFi rather than looking at the latest protocol around us as a DEX for perps. This is really where the opportunity is. And I foresee that many of the CeFi giants of today, if you look at what they're all doing, should it be Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, all of them are more or less following the same pattern. And I don't know if you noticed that as well, Andy, but they are all launching their own wallets, Web3 wallet, DeFi wallet. So you can use now the Coinbase DeFi wallet and connect to DeFi with the Coinbase wallet, with the Binance wallet, with the OKX wallet. The list goes on. They're all launching or have launched already their own layer 2 or their own chain. So eventually, I believe that the new banks in the coming years will be these crypto exchanges, which will be having their core business maybe under licensed, offered by the New Zealand government or any government in the world for their spot activities. But they will also facilitate and being a gateway for users who wants to access DeFi. If we are honest with ourselves, DeFi today is an adventure. It's a wallet, it's a bridge, it's gas fees, it's still very complex. So I think the early users that we are so passionate by the product and so adventurous that we can take all these kind of different steps and go and use those protocols we love, dYdX, Aave, and many others, But for the next herd of users in DeFi, they will probably want something way more easy. They will want something which will take less time and less study. And I think we have to respect that also, and being very pragmatic. If you want to go to the market and buy the freshest vegetables and take the time of cooking them before dinner, I respect that because I don't have the time, I don't have the same passion, but we can still be friends. And this is just different life and different people, right? So I think we should embrace and thinking very deeply about how Web3 products are being distributed. And the first iterations of distribution of Web3 products, should it be crypto lending, DEXs, all these kind of sub activities of crypto, I think have been targeting rightly so the early adopters. But for the next wave, the distribution of Web3 products should be rethought from the ground up, and being much more pragmatic, first principle thinking. And I think there is a great opportunity in collaborating with the infrastructure, DeFi infrastructure built by CeFi players such as centralized exchanges.
Yeah, well, that's a very great point, very well articulated, Charles. You know, I think it's, of course, there's always going to be a certain segment of traders that are attracted by the features that you're talking about. So, you know, this instant market listings, you know, traders are able to list any market with immediate liquidity. Look, they can apply leverage if they want. And the MegaVault Global Liquidity Pool that you're talking about, it all sounds great if you are that a trader, but of course, you know, that next big wave of adoption that you're talking about, yeah, we do need another evolution in DeFi, don't we, for just to make it possible for, I guess, the average person that you're talking about, whether they have a passion for cooking, maybe not trading, but maybe it's cooking, and yet they also have the right to put their money to work any way that they want, and they should be able to do that in a decentralized fashion. But we need to make it a little bit easier and more accessible for them to do so. But do you think that next kind of cycle is starting to happen now? Is the infrastructure ready, or are we not quite there, Charles?
I think indeed it's just happening before our eyes, very slowly, very strongly. The best example of how you need to accommodate different type of audiences, the elephant in the room, is the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF. What is it exactly? It's basically a financial product which my dad or my mom can purchase very simply with their existing bank or brokerage account without having to KYC and thinking what is my new address and all these things. I've heard about Bitcoin, I want to get exposure. I go on my bank online website and I just buy some Bitcoin via BlackRock or some others. So I think the infrastructure is evolving, and we can see the success of those Bitcoin ETF just being massive. The most successful launch of ETF in the past 10 years or 15 years or so is just like really a kind of a blessing we receive from the industry, showing that if we think about the distribution differently, the audience we can reach and how much we can achieve is just by an order of magnitude bigger. So I think the infrastructure is evolving, and we need not only to think about the infrastructure we're building on, but thinking about the distribution. And I come back to this point. If some people wants to consume dYdX via the dYdX portal, they should be able to do that. If some other people have no time to trade, they should be able to essentially leverage the MegaVault and drop some of the money they have available to put this money to work over there without having the complexity of trading derivative products. If some people wants to get access to dYdX via their favorite wallet without having to connect to a website and doing all this hard work, they should be as well. So I think the infrastructure is available, but not all the pipes have been connected yet. And I think it comes back to the distribution. So there is a lot of I would say infrastructure ready for different subsets of audience, but we haven't seen yet products in DeFi which have been sometimes courageous, or I would say pragmatic, as that's the way I would put it, to essentially say, yes, I will accommodate a larger audience having different needs, and therefore putting myself available on infrastructure which is ready for that.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, look, as we start to finish up this part of the podcast, Charles, what is next for dYdX? So obviously you've just launched dYdX Unlimited, so that is a big milestone. You'll be looking to take advantage of that and welcome new and existing traders to the platform. What are you going to do to incentivize those traders to stick around? Just run us through, what the MegaVault and instant marking listings can offer one more time. And what is next? You must have some more secret sauce. What else is in the product roadmap for next year and beyond?
Absolutely. So what is next? It's starting today. It's available today. Essentially, there is a new set of incentives which are being deployed on the protocol. So every time you trade on dYdX, should it be a winning trade or a losing trade, you get rewarded in dYdX token. You can do whatever you want with those tokens. You can stake them and receive a share of the revenues of the protocol via dYdX staking. You can sell the token. You do whatever you want with it. So there is this kind of trading incentive. There is more than $1.5 million per month being distributed right now to traders, whatever is their size. So that's one first thing. The second thing is more than 550 or so new markets which are listable on dYdX. So there is, I think, a lot of work together with the different communities in crypto to make them realize that they might be waiting for a listing on a centralized exchange, but actually this listing is available right now on dYdX. So there is already multiple projects which are reaching out to the dYdX community in general and trying to understand like this permissionless listing is just an opportunity for them which they really want to capture to bring better price discovery for their token and their community. And being listable very quickly on dYdX is something which is a very strong value proposition for them. Just as a reminder, today there is about 153, if I remember well, trading pairs on dYdX and more than 500 additional markets which are listable. So how this listing kind of process works is essentially users, either projects or users, will come on dYdX. They will be able to see that project is listable and starting the listing process, which requires a deposit in USDCs, which will be returned after 30 days, just to avoid a little bit of spamming from time to time. And then the market will be listed a few hours later and being tradable by users. And then the MegaVault will also ensure that if there is demand for this market remains like healthy and liquidity is brought to the market in a very, very proactive way. And what is coming next is really also in the end of the community. As the community is discussing new token economics, how the fees are being redistributed. As the community is discussing also how the treasury DAO should be investing and kind of looking at staking and putting to work the treasury of the protocol itself. We're talking about hundreds of millions of US dollars of value today. But there is also within the protocol, dYdX is open source, so people can definitely shape and starting to bring new kind of assets, should it be real world assets, tokenized, but there is also a lot of conversations around indexes. Indexes are a very large market in TradFi in general. We've seen Coinbase launching Coin50, an index of the most traded crypto assets on their platform. So I believe the next big wave of listings within dYdX will be around indexes. Should it be crypto indexes, but also real world type of indexes. So I would say the box is now open for every users and builders to come and leverage the dYdX ecosystem to come and make this new generation of DeFi. Sometimes the secret sauce is to open your receipt and let the people build with you. And I think that's what dYdX has been really, really good at over the past years. And it shows into the position we have in the DEX market and the trading volume. As a reminder, just for the year of 2024, more than 250 billion US dollar were traded on the dYdX protocol. So this is really a testament of the activities, the level of product market fit, and also the type of platforms users wants to leverage to keep pushing the boundaries and keep building this differentiation factor for DeFi itself.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Charles. And just for people that want to try out dYdX, what is the best way for them to do so? What should they do? Where should they go, Charles?
Absolutely. So dYdX.trade is a user interface of dYdX. So you can go on dYdX.trade and essentially start trading very, very quickly. You can go on dYdX.trade/vault to explore the vault, understanding what's the size of the vault, what are the current APRs. They evolve also every week. And then you can follow dYdX on Twitter at dYdX.
And I said we'd circle back and just, you've been in crypto a while, Charles. Charles, you spent time, as you mentioned, as I think the global head of business development at Consensus, looking after products like MetaMask, obviously deep in Ethereum ecosystem since the beginning. Just love to get your thoughts. Just approach this any way you want. But in terms of where we are here at the end of 2024, it's been a pretty good year for crypto, you'd have to say, and Q4 has been even better again. Of course, with the presidential election in America going the way of Donald Trump, and America seeming to embrace a bright crypto future, it is interesting times. Just love to get your perspectives on where you think we are at and what is coming next. I know it's a big, broad question. Please approach it any way you like.
Yeah, let me try to cut it into different blocks, and they might be of different flavors, but hopefully they bring a little bit of value. The election, Trump winning the elections, I think is bringing a lot of positive energy to the market. So it's obviously something everyone is welcoming. I'm very excited. We can see the market are mostly in the green, and it gives a much more kind of bright horizons for everyone building in this space. Having said that, there is still some regulations which will not change. Should it be Trump or Harris or other elections in other markets, there is fundamentals in regulations which will remain and they will not disappear. So I think we need to be enthusiastic. We need to stay very optimistic, but we need to stay also kind of grounded. Regulations and the tone the regulations will be brought to the market might change, but the regulations for the most part will remain. I think one of the big wins in terms of regulations in the US will be clarity. There is a lot of people in our space who will be delighted to follow some rules only if you give them the rules very clearly. And the reality is in many countries today, you cannot progress until you realize a new rules came up a few months ago, or clarity is not there, so you don't know exactly how to keep growing your protocol. So I think the big win will be clarity. The big win is already optimism, but we have to stay aware that some regulations will remain in all countries anyway. Coming back to your questions about Ethereum, I might have a bias here. I've been an Ethereum fan for a very long time, even though I'm very open to different type of technologies and stacks. Eventually, we see a very big win for Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin as a mind share has very well defined his value proposition, and the market is embracing it. So you look at the price of Bitcoin. Obviously, you look at the volume on ETF. It really shows that there is. Now the market is happy to get like different products with different value proposition. How many blockchain will be able to reach the same level of attention and performance and total value lock as Ethereum? I don't think there will be many. So you can think of multitudes of layer 2s and new layer 1s. There might be short terms kind of stimulations for the existing layer 1s to help them to upgrade. But eventually, the same way in software, there is many different languages available for developers, but there is only a handful of them which are widely used. The same will probably happen in crypto and blockchain technology. So Ethereum is here to stay. Ethereum is ossifying, is being challenged here and there, but if you kind of abstract the price action, Ethereum is definitely far ahead. With a very solid and diverse ecosystem around it. So I remain extremely bullish on Ethereum overall, even though you need to keep a close look at what's happening on Solana. I think there is also a lot of innovations which is super interesting over there. Maybe a third bucket we can touch on if that makes sense. I think also when I look at how the internet has been evolving, I'm 46 years old, so I've seen a few iterations of the internet, and I remember the way I look at the internet, it started as like one global network, a little bit like a global layer one for content. And this global layer one for content become a global layer one for social media and different things. And what I see right now, and we've seen it on the normal internet, and I think it's coming to Web3 as well, we probably are moving away from being on the internet and moving away to the split internet. And what I mean by that is the way I'm sorry about my voice. I've been sick for some days now. But I just to come back to the internet and the split internet, I think the way we consume internet is changing very quickly. The Chinese are spending more time on WeChat than they're spending time on Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. The Japanese are online, the Korean are on Kakao, and these super apps are essentially signaling to us that the infrastructure and the way we have to distribute products and the way the digital product will be consumed is changing drastically. The elephant in the room in the Western world is Telegram, which is launching its own blockchain, which is becoming days after days as a super app. Maybe another signal is also the way you consume the internet or data. You use more and more ChatGPT, and Google is kind of losing a little bit of your attention and my attention as well. So I think the internet infrastructure is changing, and what it means for us builders in the crypto space is to really keep the pulse of what's going on and thinking, okay, where should my products be in order to be consumed and to be available? And investing only on your .com or .io, I think is a little bit a strategy of the past, and we need to think how we distribute further and how we bring products to the right shelves and to the right kind of center of attention. And in the context of this split internet, the places I think where people wants to be, we should be centralized exchanges or super apps or super dApps, where essentially people kind of aggregate all the different kind of services and consume them in a way easier way.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, Charles. All right, well, it's time to start to finish up the podcast. And we do that, of course, by running you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Charles, are you up for it?
Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm just going to run some questions at you, Charles. I just want you to give me quick, rapid style, kind of hot take style answers, if you like. Question one is a bit of a funny one for you, being an Ethereum guy, but let's see what you have to say. It is, where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I'm multi-chain, 100%.
Yes,
I love my Bitcoin. I love my ETH. I love a lot of things. So definitely multi-chain.
All right. Well, what would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion, Charles?
My firmest conviction is that the internet is evolving, and the internet money and crypto in general will be in every pocket in a very small amount of years. It's just happening before our eyes, and we are all part of this journey.
I love it. Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. As a builder in blockchain, you'll be very familiar with that kind of thinking. But 10 years, obviously, in blockchain is a very long time. So look, cast your mind forward 10 years' time, anything you want, DeFi, dYdX, what does it all look like in 10 years' time?
In 10 years' time, dYdX will be moving $1 trillion US of volume yearly, and will be trading FX, commodities, and all crypto assets. I think it's just the history is written and carved on stone. We just have to go slowly through each chapter and build every step on our way.
Very well said. All right. William Gibson, famous sci-fi author, famously said that the future is already here, Charles. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people aren't aware of it?
Ooh. I think the AI is just all around us already. It's on the crypto markets for a long time. We see that at dYdX, people using algos and a lot of high frequency trading, with essentially mathematics and AI engines, and we start to use ChatGPT. So I think AI and AI agents and allies around us are coming our way, and yes, it's gonna be extremely quick. So we should be embracing it and not fighting back.
Yeah, could not agree more. And it brings us nicely to the final question, Charles, which is, what is your favorite science fiction, a book, film, or TV show?
Ooh, I'll pass on this one. I'm blanking now. I don't know.
Yes. Haven't watched anything recently on Netflix? No?
I don't do TV much. I'm mostly on the crypto markets, to be honest.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Talking to GPT. Charles, this has been a lot of fun. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you for coming and spending some time with us and updating us, bringing us up to speed with dYdX Unlimited. Just to close it out, please tell people where they can find you on X, on Twitter, wherever else you like to hang out. And again, tell people where they should go to dive into the wonderful world of dYdX.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Google, Charles dYdX. I'm sure some page will come up. Follow dYdX on Twitter as well, at dYdX. And you should try the dYdX MegaVault. Try the dYdX instant listing via dYdX.trade.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charles. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you, Andy. Bye for now.